Ma'am, you need to leave now. This establishment doesn't serve your kind. The security guard's hand moved toward his radio as the elegantly dressed black woman stood frozen in the marble lobby. The Grand Meridian Hotel buzzed with its usual Tuesday afternoon energy. Crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across imported Italian marble. Business executives clutched leather briefcases. Tourists snapped photos of the gold-leafed ceiling. Dr. Amelia Richardson, 42, adjusted her Armani blazer and gripped her designer briefcase tighter. Her perfectly manicured fingers trembled slightly as Jake Morrison, head of security, stepped closer. His smirk revealed years of unchecked authority. "Security to lobby," Jake spoke into his radio. "We have a situation with an individual who doesn't belong here." These black stories remind us that real-life stories often contain the most touching stories of human resilience. Have you ever been judged by your appearance in a place you had every right to be? Jake's eyes scanned Amelia from head to toe. "Look, lady, I don't know how you got past the valet, but this isn't some community center." Sarah Chen, the desk manager, emerged from behind the mahogany reception counter. Her expression shifted from professional courtesy to cold suspicion. "Sir? Should I call the police?" Other guests began to notice. A family of 4 pulled their children closer. An elderly man whispered to his wife, pointing discreetly. The usual hotel symphony of conversation and clinking glasses quieted to uncomfortable murmurs. Amelia's voice remained steady. "I have a reservation." "Sure you do," Jake laughed. "What name?" "Richardson." Sarah's fingers flew across her computer keyboard. "There's no Richardson checked in today." "I'm not checking in. I have a meeting." 20 feet away, Emma Rodriguez, a 19-year-old lifestyle influencer, held her phone steady. Her TikTok live stream showed 47,000 viewers and climbing. Comments flooded the screen faster than she could read them. "Guys, you're seeing this live," Emma whispered to her phone. "This is actually happening right now at the Grand Meridian downtown." The viewer count jumped to 52,000, then 58,000. Jake noticed the phone camera and his chest puffed out. "Ma'am, please stop recording. This is private property." Emma kept filming. "It's a public lobby, sir. I know my rights." In the corner, Marcus Thompson, a local blogger for City Pulse, opened his laptop. His fingers moved rapidly across the keyboard, live tweeting the developing situation. "Huh? Hotel discrimination. Grand Meridian. Witness this." The digital lobby clock displayed 2:47 p.m. in bold red numbers. Amelia glanced at it, then at her phone. 12 missed calls from contacts labeled Board Member Thomas, Board Member Janet, and Richardson Holdings, URG. "I need to be upstairs by 3:00 p.m., Amelia said calmly. "The only place you need to be is outside," Jake replied. "This hotel has standards." Sarah nodded in agreement. "Our clientele expect a certain atmosphere." As Amelia opened her wallet to retrieve identification, a black American Express Centurion card fell onto the marble floor. The titanium card caught the chandelier light, its distinctive design unmistakable to anyone familiar with exclusive banking. Jake kicked it toward her. "Nice fake." But Sarah's eyes lingered on the card. Something flickered across her face. Recognition? Doubt. Emma's live stream chat exploded. "That's a Centurion card. Those are invite only. She's rich, rich." Amelia's phone buzzed again. The caller ID read Richardson Holdings, CEO office. She declined the call. A boarding pass protruded from her briefcase pocket. "First class. Private jet terminal. Today's date." "Ma'am," Jake's voice grew louder, "I'm going to ask you one more time to leave, voluntarily." The clock showed 2:52 p.m. Hotel General Manager Patricia Williams emerged from the executive offices, her heels clicking against marble. She surveyed the scene with practiced efficiency, taking in the crowd, the cameras, the security situation. "What's the issue here?" Patricia asked. "This individual is refusing to leave," Jake explained. "She claims to have a meeting but isn't registered." Patricia studied Amelia carefully. Something about her bearing, her clothing, her calm demeanor seemed familiar, but she couldn't place it. "Security cameras are malfunctioning in this section," Sarah announced, tapping her computer screen. "Perfect timing, right?" The irony wasn't lost on Emma's viewers. "Camera's down, but we're still recording." "They're trying to hide something." "I'll need to search your bag," Jake announced, reaching for Amelia's briefcase. Several guests stopped to watch openly now. Some held phones. Others whispered behind manicured hands. A small crowd began forming near the concierge desk. "You have no legal right to search my property," Amelia replied evenly. "This is private property. I have every right." The clock read 2:54 p.m. Patricia pulled Jake aside. "Are you certain about this? She seems..." "Seems what?" "Look at her." "Patricia. You know exactly what this is about." 6 minutes until her board meeting. Amelia's calm exterior masked growing frustration, but she refused to give them the reaction they wanted. Years of corporate boardrooms had taught her that emotional responses only weakened your position. Her phone displayed 47 unread text messages from board members, legal counsel, and executive assistants. Each message grew more urgent as the merger deadline approached. The final message, time-stamped 2:53 p.m., simply read, "Where are you?" Emma's viewer count hit 89,000. Marcus's Twitter thread had been retweeted 1,200 times in 6 minutes. The hashtag Grand Meridian Racism was beginning to trend locally. "Empty your purse," Jake demanded. "Now." The crowd pressed closer. Phones emerged from pockets and purses. The situation was spiraling beyond hotel property into viral territory. But Jake seemed oblivious to the digital wildfire spreading around him. Amelia set her briefcase on the marble floor and slowly unzipped the top compartment. "Finally, someone doing something about these people," muttered a middle-aged guest in a golf shirt. His wife nodded approvingly. Vincent Martinez, the concierge, reluctantly approached at Patricia's signal. 23 years of hospitality experience had taught him to read situations, and everything about this felt wrong. The woman's composure, her expensive clothing, the way she held herself. Nothing matched Jake's narrative. "Vincent, please escort our visitor to the street," Patricia instructed, though her voice lacked conviction. "Ma'am, if you could please come with me," Vincent said softly, apologetically. Through the service entrance, kitchen staff peered around corners. Housekeeping supervisors whispered in 3 languages. Word was spreading through the hotel's internal communication system faster than management could contain it. Emma's live stream exploded past 127,000 viewers. Comments streamed too fast to read. "This is insane. Somebody call the news. I'm never staying here." Marcus's fingers flew across his laptop keyboard. His live blog post was being shared across Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Local news outlets began reaching out via direct message. Breaking. Discrimination incident unfolding live at Grand Meridian Hotel downtown. Multiple witnesses recording. Security attempting to remove well-dressed black woman without cause. Thread follows. The hotel's social media accounts remained silent, but mentions were pouring in. Yelp reviews began appearing in real time. Google ratings started dropping as people left 1-star reviews based solely on the live stream. A local civil rights attorney had already screenshot Emma's stream and was composing a preliminary statement. The Southern Poverty Law Center's regional office received their first phone call about the incident at 2:55 p.m. Jake positioned himself directly in front of Amelia, while 2 additional security guards flanked her sides. The marble lobby suddenly felt claustrophobic despite its soaring ceilings. "Backup security to lobby immediately," Sarah announced over the intercom. The digital clock displayed 2:56 p.m. in unforgiving red numerals. Amelia's phone buzzed with its 20th missed call. This time, the caller ID read Hartwell International, Murdered Dept. She glanced at the screen, then at the growing circle of hotel staff and curious guests surrounding her. 4 minutes, she said quietly. 4 minutes until what? Jake demanded. Until my meeting starts. What meeting? You're not on any schedule. Sarah checked twice. A businessman in an expensive suit pushed through the crowd. Excuse me, isn't that Dr. Richardson? Jake whipped around. You know this person? I think so. She spoke at the regional business conference last month. Something about hotel acquisitions and corporate expansion. Sarah's face went pale. She began typing frantically on her computer. You're mistaken, Jake said firmly. This individual is trespassing. But doubt was creeping into the crowd. Phone cameras continued recording. Emma's viewer count climbed past 150,000. The hashtag Grand Meridian Scandal was now trending in 3 cities. The elevator bank chimed. A group of men and women in business suits emerged, checking their phones and looking around the lobby with confusion. Board members. Early arrivals for the 3:00 p.m. meeting. There she is, called Thomas Anderson, recognizing Amelia across the lobby. He began walking toward the commotion. Jake stepped forward, blocking Thomas's path. Sir, please step back. We're handling a security situation. Security situation? That's Dr. Richardson. We have a board meeting in 3 minutes. The lobby went silent except for the soft jazz music playing through hidden speakers. Sarah's computer screen displayed search results for Dr. Richardson CEO. Her hands shook as she scrolled through images, press releases, and corporate headshots. Vincent stepped back instinctively. His hospitality training screamed warnings that he'd ignored his better judgment. Patricia studied Thomas, then Amelia, then her computer screen over Sarah's shoulder. Corporate headshots don't lie. Press releases from major business publications don't lie. The Richardson Holdings logo on official documents doesn't lie. Jake, Patricia said slowly, I think we need to... Need to what? She's obviously some kind of scammer. Look at this crowd she's created. This is exactly the kind of disruption we can't allow. Jake's hand moved toward Amelia's elbow. Time to go, lady. But Amelia stepped back and calmly removed her phone from her purse. Her fingers moved with deliberate precision across the screen. Emma zoomed in with her camera, catching every detail of Amelia's composed expression against the chaos surrounding her. The contrast was striking. Pure calm in the center of a storm she hadn't created, but was about to control. Wait, Sarah whispered, staring at her screen. Oh, God. Oh, no. The clock showed 2:58 p.m. Amelia lifted her phone to her ear. The first call connected immediately. Cancel the Richardson Holdings merger, she said in a voice that carried clearly across the marble lobby. Yes, Thomas, all $847 million. Effective immediately. The lobby erupted. Thomas Anderson's face went white. The other board members froze mid-step. Jake's confident smirk faltered for the first time. Sarah began hyperventilating. Patricia, we need... Legal department? Amelia continued into her phone, her voice never rising above conversational level. I need hostile workplace documentation started. Yes, for discrimination. The Grand Meridian. Today's date. Multiple witnesses. Emma's live stream chat was moving too fast for modern internet infrastructure. The viewer count hit 200,000 and kept climbing. Her followers were sharing the stream across every social platform simultaneously. Jake's radio crackled with confused chatter from other security personnel, asking for clarification on the lobby situation. Patricia grabbed Sarah's arm. Tell me that's not Dr. Amelia Richardson, CEO of Richardson Holdings. Sarah's computer screen displayed Amelia's corporate biography, complete with photos, board positions, and acquisition history. The same woman now standing 10 feet away, surrounded by hotel security, making phone calls that could destroy careers. "She owns us," Sarah whispered. "She owns the whole chain." Jake's hand dropped from his radio. "What did you say?" Thomas Anderson pushed past the security barrier. "Amelia, what's happening here? The merger partners are expecting—" "The merger partners will be disappointed," Amelia replied, ending her call. "Jake, do you know who owns this hotel?" Jake's voice cracked slightly. "Richardson Holdings, some corporation." "Correct." Amelia's smile was glacier cold. "I am Dr. Amelia Richardson, CEO of Richardson Holdings. You work for me." The silence that followed was absolute. Even the jazz music seemed to fade into insignificance. Emma's phone nearly slipped from her hands. "Oh my God, guys. She owns the hotel. She literally owns the building." Marcus looked up from his laptop, fingers frozen over the keyboard. This wasn't just a discrimination story anymore. This was corporate drama at the highest level, playing out live in a hotel lobby. The clock displayed 2:59 p.m. Board members were arriving upstairs. Merger documents waited for signatures. $847 million hung in the balance of the next 60 seconds. And Jake Morrison, head of security, finally understood that he had just humiliated his own boss in front of 200,000 witnesses and a room full of corporate executives. His face drained of all color as the full weight of the situation crashed down around him. Jake's confident posture crumbled. His shoulders sagged, as if someone had cut the strings holding him upright. The man who had strutted through the lobby dispensing authority now looked like a child caught stealing. "That's impossible," he whispered. Amelia calmly scrolled through her contacts and placed another call. The speaker volume was just loud enough for the front row of onlookers to hear both sides of the conversation. "Legal department, this is Dr. Richardson. I need immediate documentation for hostile workplace environment, racial discrimination, and corporate liability exposure." "Yes, at the Grand Meridian property. Multiple witnesses, video evidence, social media documentation already viral." Emma's live stream counter showed 247,000 viewers. The comments section had become incomprehensible, moving too fast for human eyes to follow. Screenshots were being shared across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at unprecedented speed. "Ma'am," Jake's voice had lost all authority. "If there's been some misunderstanding—" "Misunderstanding?" Amelia's tone remained conversational, which somehow made it more devastating than shouting would have been. "You told me this establishment doesn't serve my kind. Was that a misunderstanding?" Patricia Williams had spent 15 years in hotel management. She'd handled celebrity meltdowns, diplomatic incidents, and corporate crises, but she'd never watched her own career implode in real time on social media. "Dr. Richardson," Patricia stepped forward, her voice shaking. "I sincerely apologize for this inexcusable—" "Patricia," Amelia's interruption was gentle but final. "We'll discuss your role in this later. Right now, I have a board meeting." Thomas Anderson checked his Rolex. "Amelia, it's 3:00 p.m. The Hartwell executives are waiting upstairs. The merger documents have been canceled. I made that call 60 seconds ago." The crowd gasped collectively. Several business reporters in the lobby began furiously typing on their phones. An $847 million zero-cents deal, terminated because of a security guard's racism, would make national headlines within the hour. Sarah Chen stood behind the reception desk, tears streaming down her face. Her computer screen displayed Richardson Holdings' corporate structure. 67% ownership of the Grand Meridian chain, 47 properties across 12 states. Annual revenue exceeding $2 billion. She had just participated in racially profiling her ultimate boss. Vincent Martinez had backed away from the scene entirely. 23 years of hospitality experience screamed that careers were ending in real time, and he wanted no part of the fallout. Emma's phone battery was at 12%, but she couldn't stop recording. This was the story of her young career, possibly the decade. Her follower count was climbing by thousands every minute. "Guys, I cannot believe what I'm seeing," she whispered to her camera. This woman just canceled an almost billion-dollar deal because of how these people treated her. Marcus Thompson's laptop overheated from processing the viral speed of his live blog updates. Major news outlets were already reaching out. CNN, MSNBC, Fox Business, The Wall Street Journal. Everyone wanted exclusive details. The hashtag Richardson response was trending nationally now. Grand Meridian racism had been picked up by celebrities, politicians, and civil rights organizations. The hotel's social media mentions were approaching crisis levels. Jake Morrison's entire worldview was collapsing. He'd built his identity around authority, control, and keeping certain people in their place. Now he stood face to face with a woman who could end his career with a phone call. And she'd already made that call. "Security badge," Amelia said, calmly extending her hand. "Ma'am, your security badge. You're terminated. Effective immediately." Jake's hands trembled as he unclipped the badge from his uniform. The same hands that had moved confidently toward his radio, that had gestured dismissively, that had almost grabbed her elbow, now shook like autumn leaves. Amelia's phone buzzed with incoming calls from every major business news outlet. Her assistant had been fielding calls from the Richardson Holdings Board of Directors, legal counsel, and public relations teams. But before addressing any of that, she had one more call to make. "Hartwell International, this is Dr. Richardson. Yes, I understand your executives are waiting upstairs. Unfortunately, we'll need to postpone the merger discussion indefinitely. No, not a negotiating tactic. A fundamental reassessment of corporate culture and values." Thomas Anderson looked like he might faint. $847 million evaporating because a security guard couldn't see past skin color. "The merger can be reconstructed," Amelia continued into her phone, "after we address some internal operational issues. Yes, I'll call you personally within 48 hours. She ended the call and surveyed the crowd that had gathered around her. Dozens of phones pointed in her direction. Hotel staff whispered in clusters. Board members stood frozen between the elevators and the unfolding drama. Jake's uniform, which had seemed so authoritative 30 minutes earlier, now hung on him like a costume from a play that had ended badly. Sweat stains appeared under his arms, despite the hotel's perfect climate control. Sarah had stopped crying but couldn't stop staring at her computer screen. The Richardson Holdings corporate hierarchy showed Dr. Amelia Richardson at the top of an empire that employed over 12,000 people across hospitality, real estate, and entertainment ventures. Patricia Williams calculated rapidly in her head. Wrongful termination lawsuit, civil rights violation, corporate liability, media exposure, stock price impact, board member accountability, her own potential termination. The numbers were staggering. Vincent finally approached, his voice barely above a whisper. "Dr. Richardson, on behalf of the concierge staff, I want to apologize. This doesn't represent our values." "Thank you, Vincent. I remember you from previous visits. Your professionalism has always been impeccable." Jake's face twisted with confusion and rage. Previous visits? She'd been here before? How many times had he missed recognizing the woman who owned the building? The viewer count hit 312,000. Emma's phone was overheating, but the story was too big to stop recording. "I need everyone to understand what you just witnessed," she told her camera. A black woman was racially profiled and humiliated in a hotel lobby. That woman turned out to be the CEO who owns the entire hotel chain. She just canceled an $847 million 0 cents business deal because of how her own employees treated her. The comment stream was a river of fire emojis, mind-blown emojis, and capital letters expressing disbelief. And she's handling it like a boss. Quit, power. This is how you do it. But Amelia wasn't finished. She had one more revelation that would cement the complete transformation of power dynamics in that marble lobby. "Jake," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the suddenly quiet space. "Do you know how many people work for Richardson Holdings?" Jake shook his head, unable to speak. 12,437 employees. The Hartwell merger would have created jobs for 847 additional people. Your actions didn't just cost you your job. They cost nearly 1,000 people their potential livelihoods. The weight of that number settled over the crowd like a heavy blanket. This wasn't just about one racist security guard anymore. This was about systemic discrimination having massive ripple effects through the economy. Emma's viewers were sharing clips faster than the platforms could process them. 847 jobs was now trending alongside the original hashtag. Patricia stepped forward again. "Dr. Richardson, is there any way to salvage the merger? Those jobs?" "Patricia, everything is salvageable. But first, we need to ensure this never happens again. To anyone. Ever." The clock showed 3:07 p.m. 7 minutes past the start of what should have been the most important board meeting of the quarter. Instead, Dr. Amelia Richardson stood in her own hotel lobby, surrounded by witnesses to discrimination, holding the power to reshape not just individual careers, but an entire corporate culture. And she was just getting started. Thomas Anderson approached cautiously. "Amelia, the board is waiting upstairs. How do you want to handle the Hartwell situation?" She looked around the lobby one more time, at Jake, now understanding his complete powerlessness, at Sarah, learning that assumptions have consequences, at Patricia, calculating the cost of institutional racism, at Emma, still streaming to hundreds of thousands of viewers, at Marcus, documenting everything for posterity. "Tell the board we're having an emergency session. The merger discussion is now a discrimination response workshop. And Thomas?" "Yes? We're going to make this right. All of it." The 47th floor boardroom overlooked the city through floor-to-ceiling windows that cost more than most people's houses. 12 board members sat around a mahogany table that could seat 20. Wall-mounted screens typically displayed quarterly reports and growth projections. Today, they showed Emma's live stream. 347,000 viewers and climbing. The comment stream moved too fast for human comprehension. Every major news outlet was now covering the story live. Amelia entered at exactly 3:08 p.m., 8 minutes behind schedule but carrying herself as if she owned the building. Which, of course, she did. "Good afternoon," she said, taking her seat at the head of the table. "I'm sure you've all seen the entertainment downstairs." Thomas Anderson looked like he'd aged 5 years in 15 minutes. "Amelia, the Hartwell executives are in conference room B. They're asking about the merger status. Tell them we're postponing indefinitely, pending internal restructuring." Board member Janet Morrison, no relation to Jake, leaned forward. $847 million, Amelia. We can't make decisions based on one employee's mistake. "A minute, only a mistake, miss." Amelia's voice remained calm. "Janet, look at screen 3. The display showed real-time social media analytics. Grand Meridian Racism had 2.3 million mentions in the past hour. The hotel chain's stock price had dropped 3.7% and was still falling. Reservation cancellations were pouring in through automated systems faster than customer service could process them. This isn't one employee's mistake. This is systemic failure of corporate culture, training protocols, and operational oversight. Chief Financial Officer Robert Chen, Sarah's uncle, though she didn't know he was in today's meeting, pulled up financial projections on his tablet. Legal exposure analysis, he announced grimly. Minimum $15 million in discrimination settlements. Potential class action if other incidents surface. Media crisis management budget approaching $2 million for the first quarter alone. The numbers filled screens throughout the room. Richardson Holdings worth $2,100 million, 0 cents. Grand Meridian chain generating $23,400,000, 0 cents annually per property. The canceled Hartwell merger representing 40% growth in the hospitality division. Rand damage assessment, added Marketing Director Lisa Park. We've lost 14 corporate accounts in the past hour. Convention bookings are being reconsidered. Travel blogs are writing condemnation pieces faster than we can monitor them. Amelia stood and walked to the windows. The city spread below her. Millions of people going about their lives, unaware that 47 floors above them, corporate accountability was being redefined in real time. Show them the security footage, she instructed. Amelia, the lobby cameras were malfunctioning. Not the lobby cameras, the executive-level cameras, the ones that captured my arrival at 2:30 p.m. The screens switched to security footage, time-stamped 2:30 and 14 seconds p.m. Crystal-clear video showed Amelia exiting the executive elevator, walking confidently toward the boardroom, then returning to the elevator and pressing the lobby button. I arrived early for our meeting, she explained. I decided to check on lobby operations before joining you. Standard CEO practice for maintaining service quality. The footage continued, showing her emerging from the elevator into the lobby at 2:46 p.m. 60 seconds later, Jake Morrison approached her with obvious hostility. 12 security cameras captured the incident from multiple angles, Amelia continued. Every word documented, every action time-stamped, every witness identified. Board member Charles Williams raised his hand. What's our liability exposure, legally speaking? Legal counsel Amanda Foster had been furiously reviewing employment contracts and civil rights statutes on her laptop. Unlimited, potentially. Dr. Richardson is our CEO. Racial discrimination against the chief executive officer creates unprecedented legal territory. The room fell silent, except for the soft hum of climate control and the distant sounds of traffic 47 floors below. Richardson Holdings owns 67% of the Grand Meridian chain, Amelia stated. 47 properties across 12 states. We employ over 3,000 people in the hospitality division alone. She returned to her seat and opened her laptop. The screens around the room mirrored her display. Employment contracts, corporate policies, legal frameworks. Every employee contract includes morality clauses. Section 4.7. Employees shall conduct themselves in a manner consistent with company values of respect, inclusion, and professional excellence. Jake Morrison's employment file appeared on screen. 5 years with the company. 3 prior complaints for aggressive behavior. 2 sensitivity training requirements that had been postponed indefinitely. This wasn't an isolated incident. This was institutional negligence. Thomas checked his phone. The Hartwell executives want a conference call. They're threatening to explore alternative partnerships. Let them, Amelia replied. We have bigger problems than one merger. She stood again and addressed the room with the authority that had built a billion-dollar empire. Here's what's going to happen. Jake Morrison is terminated immediately. No severance, with industry recommendations that will prevent employment at any hospitality company we influence. Robert Chen was typing notes rapidly. Understood. Sarah Chen is suspended, pending investigation. If she demonstrates genuine commitment to change through comprehensive bias training, she can return in 90 days to a probationary position. Robert's typing stopped. His niece's career hung in the balance of corporate accountability. Personal relationships couldn't override professional standards. Patricia Williams has 30 days to implement company-wide bias training or submit her resignation. No exceptions. The ultimatum was delivered without emotion, like quarterly projections or budget approvals. Business decisions based on business needs. Every employee in every property will complete mandatory sensitivity training within 72 hours. We're partnering with the Southern Poverty Law Center for curriculum development. Janet Morrison looked up from her tablet. The cost analysis. The cost of not doing this is $847 million. And our corporate reputation. The cost of bias training is negligible by comparison. Board member David Park raised his hand. Amelia, can we contain this situation? Limit the media exposure? Amelia's laugh was quiet but carried an edge. David, 2.3 million people watched your employees humiliate your CEO. Containment ended at 2:47 p.m. The screens showed Emma's live stream, still broadcasting to over 400,000 viewers. Marcus Thompson's blog had crashed from traffic overload. Major news networks were preparing special reports. This is our new reality, Amelia continued. We can choose to lead on civil rights and corporate responsibility, or we can be dragged through public humiliation and legal battles. Charles Williams pulled up stock market data. Share prices stabilizing. Market analysts are calling this a teachable moment rather than a corporate disaster. Because we're taking immediate action instead of defensive PR spin, Amelia explained. We're acknowledging the problem and fixing it transparently. Legal counsel Amanda Foster had been researching similar corporate incidents. Starbucks closed 8,000 stores for bias training after their Philadelphia incident. Their stock recovered within 6 months and reached new highs within a year, because they took responsibility instead of making excuses, Amelia noted. The Hartwell merger documents sat untouched in the center of the mahogany table. Hundreds of pages detailing expansion plans, job creation, market penetration strategies, all postponed because a security guard couldn't see past prejudice. The merger isn't dead, Amelia announced. It's delayed until we prove we deserve to grow. Hartwell International wants to partner with companies that reflect their values. Today, we failed that test. Thomas Anderson's phone buzzed with another call from Hartwell executives. They want to know our timeline for resolution. Tell them 72 hours for immediate training implementation, 30 days for policy restructuring, 90 days for measurable culture change. If they want to wait, we'll be a better partner. If they don't, they were never the right fit. The boardroom screens showed social media sentiment shifting in real time. Richardson's response was being praised by civil rights leaders, business analysts, and social media influencers. The narrative was changing from corporate racism to corporate accountability. Questions? Amelia asked. Janet Morrison raised her hand. What about Jake? He's going to be angry, unemployable. Could he become a liability? Amelia considered this. Jake's anger is his choice. Our responsibility is ensuring he never has the opportunity to discriminate again in any hospitality position. The meeting concluded with action items, deadlines, and accountability measures. No executive escaped responsibility. No policy remained unchanged. $847 million waited to be reclaimed through genuine reform rather than cosmetic gestures. And 47 floors below, Emma was still live streaming to a world that was learning what quiet power looked like when it finally decided to speak. Jake Morrison walked through the Grand Meridian lobby for the last time at 4:23 p.m. His uniform had been replaced with street clothes, his security badge surrendered, his access cards deactivated. The same marble floors that had witnessed his authority now reflected his shame. Emma's live stream followed his exit, viewer count still above 300,000. Comments ranged from satisfaction to sympathy, but the consensus was clear. Actions have consequences. Vincent Martinez handled Jake's final checkout with professional courtesy despite everything. 23 years of hospitality experience had taught him that dignity should be universal, even in difficult moments. Your final paycheck will be direct deposited minus uniform replacement costs, Vincent explained quietly. Security badges and company property have been returned. Jake nodded without speaking. His phone had been buzzing with calls from other security companies, but word travels fast in the hospitality industry. Richardson Holdings' influence extended far beyond their own properties. Sarah Chan's suspension began immediately. Her computer access was revoked, her desk cleared, her badge deactivated. But unlike Jake, she would have an opportunity for redemption. 90 days, Patricia explained during Sarah's exit interview. Complete the bias training program. Demonstrate genuine understanding. Show measurable change in perspective and behavior. Sarah's uncle Robert watched from the boardroom as his niece's career hung in the balance. Family connections couldn't override corporate accountability, but genuine growth could earn second chances. Patricia Williams faced her own reckoning. 30 days to implement comprehensive bias training or submit her resignation. 15 years of hotel management experience would mean nothing without fundamental culture change. I should have recognized her, Patricia admitted to Vincent during a quiet moment. Dr. Richardson has visited this property dozens of times. I've seen her photo in corporate newsletters. We all make mistakes, Vincent replied. The question is what we learn from them. The Respect and Inclusion app appeared on every employee device within 48 hours. QR codes throughout all Richardson Holdings properties linked to anonymous reporting systems. Monthly bias training became mandatory, tracked through digital certificates. The Southern Poverty Law Center's curriculum arrived via secure email to all property managers. Training modules covered unconscious bias, cultural competency, and bystander intervention strategies. Within 72 hours, every Richardson Holdings property displayed new signage. All guests are welcome. Discrimination will not be tolerated. Report incidents anonymously via QR code. The $50,000 zero-cents whistleblower protection fund was established and publicized company-wide. Employees who reported discrimination would receive legal protection and financial support if retaliation occurred. Diverse hiring quotas were implemented immediately. 40% minority representation in management positions by December 2025. Current demographics showed 23% minority representation, meaning significant recruitment efforts lay ahead. The zero-tolerance policy was codified in the employee handbook with specific examples and consequences. First offense, mandatory training and probation. Second offense, immediate termination with cause, no severance, negative employment references. Partnership agreements with local civil rights organizations created external oversight mechanisms. Monthly audits would ensure compliance wasn't just corporate theater. Legal counsel Amanda Foster worked through the night drafting bulletproof policies that would withstand judicial scrutiny while creating genuine accountability. Emma's follow-up video posted at 6:47 p.m. with the title, CEO Handles Racism Like a Boss. Full story. Within 24 hours, it reached 8.9 million views across all platforms. The comments section became a masterclass in corporate accountability. Business schools began incorporating the incident into case studies about crisis management and ethical leadership. Marcus Thompson's comprehensive blog post, How One Hotel Lobby Changed Corporate America, was picked up by major news outlets and won a regional journalism award 3 months later. Company stock not only recovered within 48 hours, but reached new 6-month highs as investors responded positively to proactive leadership and transparent accountability. Richardson's response became a template for corporate crisis management. Harvard Business School requested permission to develop a full case study for their MBA program. Despite having legal grounds for massive lawsuits, Dr. Richardson filed no personal litigation. Her focus remained on systemic change rather than individual punishment. "Revenge is temporary," she explained to the board. "Reform is permanent." The 847 jobs that hung in the balance were saved through reconstructed merger negotiations. Hartwell International, impressed by Richardson Holdings' handling of the crisis, agreed to accelerated partnership terms with additional diversity requirements built into the agreement. Sarah Chen completed her bias training ahead of schedule and submitted a 20-page reflection paper on unconscious prejudice in hospitality services. Her return date was moved up to 45 days based on demonstrated commitment. Jake Morrison found employment at a retail security company after completing court-mandated sensitivity training. His new employer required quarterly bias assessments as a condition of continued employment. Patricia Williams not only kept her position but was promoted to Regional Diversity Officer, overseeing bias training implementation across all southeastern properties. The Grand Meridian's Yelp rating recovered to 4.8 stars within a month. Reviews specifically praised the staff's cultural sensitivity and inclusive atmosphere. Emma Rodriguez parlayed her viral live stream into a social justice advocacy platform with over 2 million followers. She partnered with Richardson Holdings to create employee training videos. Dr. Amelia Richardson walked through the Grand Meridian lobby at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon, exactly 3 months after the incident that changed everything. The same marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers. The same soft jazz played through hidden speakers. But everything else had transformed. Vincent Martinez greeted her personally at the entrance. "Good afternoon, Dr. Richardson. Welcome back." Staff members smiled genuinely, not with the forced courtesy of people fearing their jobs, but with the authentic warmth of people proud of their workplace. The QR codes linking to anonymous reporting systems were discreetly placed throughout the lobby. New signage welcomed all guests in multiple languages. The diversity training certificates hung in the employee break room like badges of honor. Sarah Chen, now back at the reception desk, approached with obvious nervousness. "Dr. Richardson, I wanted to personally thank you for the second chance. The training program changed my perspective completely." "Growth requires courage, Sarah. You've shown both." The same corner where Emma had live-streamed the original incident now featured a small plaque. "All voices matter. All stories deserve to be heard." Richardson Holdings became the hospitality industry's benchmark for diversity and inclusion. 12 other major hotel chains adopted similar training programs and accountability measures. Harvard Business School's case study, The Richardson Response, Crisis as Catalyst for Change, was taught in MBA programs across the country. Dr. Richardson guest lectured at universities about leadership through adversity. The incident spawned a new consulting industry focused on bias training and corporate culture transformation. Companies paid millions to avoid their own Grand Meridian moments. Jake Morrison, now working retail security and attending community college, completed his associate degree in social work. His final paper examined the psychology of prejudice and the possibility of redemption. Emma Rodriguez used her platform to highlight discrimination stories from across the country. Her Quiet Power series featured people who faced bias with dignity and created positive change. Marcus Thompson's journalism career flourished. His investigative series on systemic racism in corporate America won a Pulitzer Prize nomination and led to policy changes in Fortune 500 companies. The Grand Meridian became a destination for business travelers specifically because of its reputation for inclusion. Revenue increased 23% year over year, proving that moral leadership was also profitable leadership. Power isn't about revenge or punishment. Power is about responsibility to create change that outlasts the moment. Dr. Richardson could have destroyed careers and demanded financial compensation. Instead, she chose transformation. The 847 jobs weren't just saved, they became part of a company culture that valued every employee's dignity. The canceled merger became a better merger, with stronger ethical foundations. These life stories prove that touching stories of justice can emerge from the most painful real-life stories, especially when Black stories are finally heard and respected. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace or community? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience matters, and your voice can create change. Has bias affected your career or personal life? Hit subscribe for more stories of quiet strength overcoming loud prejudice. Together, we can build a world where dignity isn't negotiable. If this story restored your faith that justice can prevail through patience and principles, share it with someone who needs to see that power used responsibly always wins over power used selfishly. Remember, every ending is someone else's beginning. Every story of change started with one person deciding that enough was enough.